Hello and welcome to another edition of 10 Minutes with Dr. Tysana. I am your host, Dr. Tysana Jones from MindWorks Collaborative. We at MindWorks are committed to improving the equity and quality of special education programming by attracting, equipping, and retaining a diverse pipeline of special education leaders. This series was created to gather sage advice from leading educators and practitioners on topics that can fast-track special educators in our broader community to success both inside and outside of schools and classrooms. Our hope is for each episode to offer tangible and practical takeaways that can be applied to your personal and professional lives right away. This month, we are focusing on recharging. We are enjoying summer. I hope that you guys get an opportunity to relax. And today's guest is Ms. Raushawna Price, who will be talking to us about overcoming workplace bullying. Raushawna has been a coach of our fearless and awesome founder, Marjorie Scandy. Her initial testimony was simply, she's the bomb.com, and she's worth every red penny. Raushawna, will you please introduce yourself to our community and give a brief overview of your work and how you've become an expert in awesomeness, as well as how you work with clients through recognizing workplace bullying and creating plans around knowing and acting on their value.
Having me. Yes, I am Raushawna Price, trademark owner of the phrase Giver of Awesomeness and the owner of Eyrie Success, which is a full service coaching, speaking, and training business. And so I love talking about awesomeness. And I got into this actually when I was bullied myself at work. When I was in a big girl job, some would say. I was serving as a senior director in one of the largest public school systems in the United States, and thought, oh gosh, I had made it. And what I realized was with a leadership change, my whole life changed. I became sick. I became really agitated. I had breakouts. I was using the restroom on myself on my way home because I was in such stress and anxiety around my work situation. And within a matter of 3 months, I went out on medical leave and then really focused on my faith and listened to the hound of heaven. That's what I call it. When God says, you're going to do something different, and stepped out on faith and started a coaching business, did some consulting, and almost 5 full years later, have now built a sustainable coaching organization that has other coaches under it that really helps individuals and organizations understand that the talent that you have is not only individually valuable, collectively it's valuable as well. And that environments can shift in a moment. And the most talented person that you have on your team, if they're under poor leadership, not only does their performance start to dwindle, but over time, the whole team starts to have long-term effects that really can stifle someone's growth, hinder their ability to be effective, and corrode their confidence. And so that's why it's so important to talk about it, to have conversations, because many people feel like, oh, that's just me, or I can be better. I hear that a lot from clients. I'm educated. I'm smart. I've been doing this a long time. I should be able to navigate this. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason to should all over yourself. You don't should on yourself when it comes to emotions and behaviors that are affecting you negatively. They just do. And when they do, it's okay to put your hand up and say, I'm not okay. And this is not okay. And to have voice, even in an organization that is paying you.
Yes. And so you hit so many pieces. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Yes. Because my initial question was going to be to ask you, like, how does this toxic work environment literally bubble, overflow into the rest of your life? And you talked about like breakouts and sweating and incontinence, like all these things, obviously all these things are going, that's clearly flowing into the rest of your life. So if you're not doing well in this work environment, everything else around you is going to be impacted. So you talked about that hound, the hound. Yes. Speak to that voice. And what did that voice say to you as you realizing you need to pivot?
Yeah, so it was a few things, and I want to give some really concrete examples for listeners because some people don't necessarily recognize it as the hound. Some people have different faith beliefs. It's still the same thing. It is this inner knowing that something's just not right, that I'm supposed to be doing something different. And it can start in many places. For me, it started as a reoccurring dream that I was having where I was in a car, and that car, I was in the seatbelt, all was safe. And then the car took off and started flying. And then all of a sudden I'm launched from the car and I don't know if I'm falling or flying. I'm not sure if I'm falling or flying. And I had that dream reoccurring until the day I resigned, and I've never had that dream again.
Yes.
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 So it can be in your dreams. It's the understanding that the hound can also be in small whispers of people saying things. The reason I trademarked the phrase giver of awesomeness is because people would say to me, oh my gosh, you're amazing. You're awesome. You rock. You're such a giver. We just love you. Can you do that Jedi mind trick thing where we sit and we talk to you and you don't tell us what to do, but then afterwards we feel better and like we got the answers that we needed.
Yeah.
And giver of awesomeness was born from that. And so it's listening to the people that are saying things to you, and you may be brushing them off like, that's not me, or I'm not that person. Take time to stop and really listen. Mm-hmm. And even the bullies. So the other thing is to listen to the positive and the negative. The negative things that are happening are also the hound of heaven going, you're supposed to do something different. Because even bullies bring gifts. They say things like, who do you think you are? You're not so great. You look cute. Oh, you're trying to get ahead of, or you're in my lane, get back in your lane. All of those are gifts. So if you think you're great, yeah, of course I think I'm great. And if I don't, who will? Wait a minute, you're upset because I'm in your lane and I'm in mine. That means I'm a multitasker. I'm multifaceted in my skills. And what would you do? This is for listeners, a real question. What would you do if you knew that you were multifaceted, multi-talented, and that, yeah, you were great? What could you go and accomplish? It may not be in your current organization, but it's out there in the world and it's needed.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. And so let's talk about those three things. What would you tell people just off the break, 3 tips that you can offer the community to address like how to get to your best self? You're addressing the workforce bullying or the workplace bullying. Yeah. But how do you make an action plan? How do we do something different? How do we get this recharged? Because if you're feeling like all this negative,
yeah.
How do you pivot that and change those? How do you accept those gifts and not just take them as like these slaps in the face? How do we take that slap to like the lift, or you
mold it and lift it? Yes. So the first thing, get your pens out. The first thing is to write down everything that has happened to you, what people are saying and what people are doing. Write it all down. If you aren't a writer, get out your phone and do a voice memo, capture it in some way, shape, or form. No need to hide from it, stuff it down, pretend like it didn't happen. Get it up and out of you in some way, shape, or form so that you can use it. Because step number 2 is to evaluate everything, every word, every line, every situation. Go back into the moment, close your eyes, even if you have to, and go back into the awkward moment and look around. And see something different, shift the perspective, because when you shift the perspective, you're going to see, wait a minute, I was embarrassed, but everybody was looking at me. So you actually commanded the room. And so if you command the room, that's a skill set. That's a talent. Yes. That's a gift. Yes. And then the last thing is to free yourself. And this can be through emotional crying, releasing that information by running, by going off and just deciding, you know what, I'm going to free myself from the expectations of what I thought this was going to be open to, this is what it is. This has happened to me. And now because it's happened, I can embrace it and move forward. So number 1, write everything down or get it out of you in some way. Number 2, review it to get those nuggets. And then number 3, release yourself from what you thought so you can live into what it is and how it's going to help you move forward.
Yes, I wrote those 3 things down because I love that. Like I love that. That was beautiful. And so write it down, evaluate, review it. You got to get it out of you. You got to get it out of you and free yourself. Like those do not should on you. We are our worst critic, but that criticizing becomes paralyzing, and we cannot be stuck and what God is calling you, or the universe, however you're referring to, is calling you. There are things that you are supposed to do. And if you're stuck in these places, you can't do what you're being called to do. And
That's right.
that's bottom line. Yes, yes.
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, that's
Thank
it.
you. That's it. So tell our folks, how can they get in contact with you? How are we able to get in contact with you? If they want to learn more about the work that you're doing and how they can work with you as far as being a coach or participating in a group workshop, how do folks get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Yes. So you can go to giverofawesomeness.com. That's going to tell you a little bit more about me, my radio show, the work that I do out in the community. And then at the bottom, there is a link that you can click if you would like to set up a time to speak with me directly to explore your personal situation. You can also find out more about Eyrie Success. That's my corporate organization that comes in and works with school systems and other nonprofit organizations to do this and other work. That's EyrieSuccess.com. And you can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Raushawna Price and Giver of Awesomeness.
All right. Thank you so much, Raushawna. It's been amazing talking with you. I can't wait to continue building and growing with you. Thanks you once again. And we love you here at MindWorks Collaborative. Have a great one.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.